today, Thursday, January 7th, 2021.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today with Savannah Guthrie, live from Washington, D.C., and Hoda Kotb, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And good morning. Welcome to a special split edition of Today. What a sight. Sun's coming up in Washington over the beautiful United States Capitol. I'm here in Washington in the aftermath of yesterday's stunning siege here at the U.S. Capitol. Hoda, you know, I used to live here. I used to cover this building, cover the White House. I looked at it this morning. I've never looked at it with tears in my eyes. But this morning I did because of what happened yesterday and what was lost. But it is a new day in Washington, and there's much to cover this morning.
We look forward to that. Yeah, I have to comment, watching that sunrise, Savannah, and that calm did make me exhale a little bit. And it was good to see that there is a new day today. But look at these images of what was left behind once those protesters finally cleared out. Check it out. I mean, broken glass everywhere. These are the offices of elected officials torn apart. Benches throughout the Capitol overturned. It's quite a sight.
We'll show you more of these images. There's still almost too much to believe, even 24 hours or so later. Here we are at the east front of the Capitol, just steps from the spot where that mob forced its way through barricades, scaled walls, broke windows, fought their way inside. It was a desperate and disturbing bid to stop constitutional counting of the electoral votes, the results of the presidential election. It should have been a ceremonial process. It should have been a matter of debate, perhaps, but not a matter of violence. And that is what happened. And look at this. Those votes, those very sacred votes contained in the box you see there, they had to be whisked away, rescued during the chaos. Quick thinking Senate staffers who grabbed those boxes, those precious boxes, your votes, Americans, and safely escorted them out. And lawmakers, when they returned, they carried that box with them. And they did their constitutional duty. They confirmed the results of the election. Joe Biden is now officially certified as the next president of the United States. A few moments later, middle of the night, the president issued a statement and committed for the first time to an orderly transition of power on January 20th.
And Savannah, when Congress first returned to the chamber, it was Vice President Mike Pence, and he was quick to condemn the violence that he had just witnessed firsthand.
To those who wreaked havoc in our Capitol today, you did not win. Violence never wins. Freedom wins.
Well, we've got our team ready to bring you the very latest. There are many angles to get into here. Let's start with NBC's Peter Alexander, our White House correspondent, who's with me here at the Capitol. And you're standing among just a little bit of the damage and violence and vandalism that took place yesterday.
Yeah, Savannah, you're right. There's just a sea of debris out here today. It's striking that less than 18 hours ago, this was packed with people, those vandals, those rioters, and now it's silent. Law enforcement telling us they're going to put up a giant fence around this area. But of course, it's too little too late. For this president, new comments overnight, a president who we have seen over the course of the last several weeks. Yesterday, refusing to condemn the violent supporters. Before that, stoking their anger with his false claims that the election was stolen. Well, he posted a new statement last night for the first time acknowledging his defeat that reads in part, even though I totally disagree with the outcome of the election and the facts bear me out, nevertheless, there will be an orderly transition on January 20th. Here's the way events played out overnight.
Overnight, a declaration of democracy, hours after a pro-Trump mob stormed and occupied the Capitol. Congress in an early morning vote confirming President-elect Biden's victory.
Joseph R. Biden, Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 232 votes.
Those simple words concluding a day of unimaginable violence, some of it inside that very chamber.
To those who strove to deter us from our responsibility, you have failed.
The proceedings that began a day earlier coming to a sudden hours-long halt by the unprecedented breach of the halls of Congress. Vice President Pence again presiding.
Violence never wins. Freedom wins. And this is still the people's house. Let's get back to work.
Senators returning under armed federal guard, not far behind the mahogany boxes holding the Electoral College's certified votes, kept safe by a quick-thinking staffer who whisked them away before rioters arrived. Republican and Democratic leaders taking the floor, still reeling, but vowing to press ahead.
The United States Senate will not be intimidated. We will not be kept out of this chamber by thugs, mobs, or threats.
We will begin the hard work of repairing this nation tonight, because here in America, we do hard things.
Some members of President Trump's own party holding him personally responsible for the chaos.
Now we gather due to a selfish man's injured pride and the outrage of supporters who he has deliberately misinformed for the past 2 months.
Republican attempts to challenge the results failing, with some senators backing down from their defiant stand.
Following the events of today, it appears that some senators have withdrawn their objection.
And one of the president's closest allies, Lindsey Graham, exasperated.
All I can say is count me out. Enough is enough.
Nearly 100 congressional Democrats now argue President Trump should be removed from office. Not on that list, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
Senator Harris, should President Trump be impeached again?
And we're now getting some new details about the dynamic between President Trump and Vice President Pence. As you saw yesterday, Trump antagonized Pence again when he said that he would not overturn the election's results. This comes from the Oklahoma Republican Senator Jim Inhofe, who spoke to his local paper, the Tulsa World, and he said, "I've known Mike Pence forever. I've never seen Pence as angry as he was today." He said, "I had a long conversation with him." He said, "After all the things I've done for Trump." And Savannah, one thing that was notable is we also heard late yesterday from Vice President Pence's press secretary saying that during that lockdown here at the Capitol, he was in frequent contact with leaders here at the Capitol, with the DOD, the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, and with Capitol Police. The only name notably not mentioned there was President Trump.
The vice president was in touch with all those authorities.
That's exactly right, yeah.
All right, Peter, thank you very much.